It's your boy Darkseeker, also known his name is Tristan. We're gonna do something a little different today. I see the people who are doing trends with tier lists, so I made my own with because I looked around on the website to see if there's any tier lists with DLC, and I couldn't find any DLC on for Fallout. So I thought maybe I made myself my own. It took me a while because the fucking website wasn't working properly, but this shouldn't be that much of an issue. Um, so we're gonna start with the first game in the series of Fallout, which I played, but I didn't beat it. It's the only Fallout game I never beat. But I would say, from what I played, it's a playable game. I would play it through. I'm most likely gonna try to play it through within. Before I would say I want to try to beat it before Fallout. No, not Fallout. Well, before I go to E3, because it shouldn't. From what I heard, there's a build you can use for the game that would help. That would basically make the game go by faster, and you can beat it within a week if you know what you're doing. Most likely I just want to beat the game so I can say I just beat it. But other than that, it's a playable game. I got like halfway into the game and then I kind of lost interest because other games came in. But so far I really enjoyed that. Let's go with the DLC. Dead Money, God tier. I absolutely loved Dead Money. Dead Money was probably my favorite DLC out of them all of New Vegas, just for the sole fact that it basically put you into a DLC with no art, with like they took away all your weapons, they took away everything that basically made you overpowered and gave you a jumpsuit with a hologram gun. Hologram rifle. I forget. I think I'm pretty sure it's a hologram rifle. I'll edit if I was wrong, but and that DLC was fucking hard, dude. But I loved it. It's the fact that you can't go in some areas because the radios that would blow you up. The characters in the game are amazing. Dean Martin, the super mutant, the mute that is actually a mute. Find on later in the DLC. The main villain is good. There's a glitch at the end of the DLC that basically makes you able to get all the bars in the DLC, like all the gold bars.
I want to hide behind this little conduit pylon.
If I will, I'll show you I'll show you a clip of that glitch right now.
Just drop your gold bars on the floor again. Now, if you're on very easy difficulty, this will help, but it's not necessary. But you want to wait behind this pylon until Father Elijah comes. I'm going to create a quick save here. I'd recommend it too because it's very easy to mess up. Essentially what you want to do, get your gun out. The second he comes through the door, just bum rush him. The lights are going behind him, and then push him up to those lights. He's invincible right now until he starts to draw his gun. Once he does that, just lay into him so he dies. The second he dies, grab the gold bars. Run back up to where you just killed him from. Make sure he's as close to the door as possible. Press R on him to open his inventory, which will pause the game, so it will give you more time. Holster your weapon as well as soon as you can. Insert the gold bars on his corpse, and then get ready to run. The second you close his inventory, turn around and bolt for the door. Your collar will begin beeping. Cut the corners wherever you can. You want to follow my route. You want to be shaving off milliseconds here just by jumping past that guy, jumping over these railings. Hug the corners as tight as you can. Every little quarter second really helps. Drop down here into the door. Jump up these stairs, cutting the corners each time. And here, jump up these stairs as well. Sharp right. Sharp right again, open the door. Run through, go into third person. Crouch down, pick up everything on his body, run towards the main door. Open the door. You can hear the beeping of the alarm.
But that usually is a one of my favorite DLCs. That's usually one of the, I would say, but the only problem is it's a high level DLC compared to all the other DLCs for New Vegas. That DLC basically you have to be like at least level 30 or level 40 in order to go into it, because you can get killed pretty easily even on the lower difficulties of New Vegas. I would, God help if you were going on fucking if you were going on hardcore, but other than that, it's a great DLC. And let's go into something that I never did. I never played the Wild Appalachia. I kind of lost interest in Fallout 76. I just didn't really like the fact that Fallout 76 is going down the route that they were going. But I'm definitely going to try before I leave for the trip. Definitely going to try out Wild Appalachia on stream. If you want to see that on stream, I'll put a link in the description of this. Like, I'm going to put my Twitch in the description like always, so you guys can go check that out when I do. Go on my Discord if you guys want to see the notifications for those streams. But never played it, so I don't have really much of an opinion, so let's go past that one. Fallout 2, God tier. Absolutely loved Fallout 2. It is my hands down favorite out of the two Fallout games. I love the Enclave. I love the amount of customization that is in those. That's in the that game. It's very hard if you don't know what you're doing, which I was basically playing with no guides or anything like that. It was so confusing, but it was so worth it though. It was worth it when you can solve everything on that game on your own without no guides. And I beat that game without no guides in it. And Frank Hogan is one of my favorite villains in the Fallout universe. And yeah, let's go on to the next one. Let's go into a DLC. Let's do Point Lookout. Best Fallout 3 DLC. If anybody can try to change my mind about that, make sure to do in the comments. But Point Lookout, in my opinion, is the best Fallout 3 DLC for the fact that it's the world for that map is so big, and the fact that there's so much content within that DLC that you can go back to if you don't have that required level, compared to other DLCs like in that game, kind of like the Pit and Mothership Zeta, where you have, if you don't have the skill levels for those certain areas, you're basically missing out on some really good weapons. And there's some even like, I think the mutants in the DLC is really good. I think the lore for some of those missions that's in the DLC is pretty good, especially the special agent one that you have to go around and you get like this really cool weapon at the end. The hallucinogenic part where you start seeing all these things once you try to go pick up a route from the later on in the main part of the DLC. It's really good. And it's just an overall fun DLC. Let's go to something one of the DLCs I don't really like. Contraptions. I think all of these DLCs were a waste of time. I absolutely hated the Vault Tech or any of the buildable DLCs. They were a waste of time, and they should have not made them. They should have made it as free, or at least made some of that free and put it within actual DLCs. These are trash. These are just bearable, and I found them somewhat fun, but I can't get myself into playing them. I'm sorry. But let's go into a game in New Vegas. God tier. hands down. It is not. It's not even made by BGS either. It is made by Obsidian, the people who are making Outer Worlds, and I'm really excited for that game. But we're talking about Fallout New Vegas here, and that was Fallout New Vegas as a whole was the most open Fallout game you can do, besides Fallout 2 and 1 and 2. Fallout New Vegas, basically, you could be the villain of the game. You don't have to do anything. You can there's multiple endings compared to other games, which is every ending feels the same, but this one actually has different outcomes to it. The factions in the game are actually appealing: Caesar's Legion, NCR, the House, stuff like that. I really enjoyed New Vegas. I think it's the best Fallout game out there, and nothing is gonna stop that. Let's go into Old World Blues. That is a trash Fallout New Vegas DLC. I absolutely hated that DLC, but it's my very first DLC I play. I think I do at level 15 on Fallout New Vegas, just because the fact it gives you some really good weapons. That's the only redeemable part of it. I just didn't like it. I don't like the characters. The jokes in it aren't funny. Literally, the only redeeming part is that when you go back, the store is really good, and in Big Mountain. Other than that, there's nothing redeemable about it. Let's go to Far Harbor. It is good, but not as good as Point Lookout. It is probably the best Fallout DLC in the game. Well, Fallout 4 DLC in the game. There's multiple endings. There's actually incomes for what is going on, stuff like that. It helps. Like there's some really good guns. There's some really good locations. Some really good enemies that's in that DLC. And overall, just a good DLC. That's how. And that was when that first 3 DLCs for Fallout 3, not Fallout 3, Fallout 4, were amazing. They were really good, and that was the good thing about it. And I may contradict saying like Wasteland, like I just said how those 3 buildable DLCs aren't good. Wasteland wasn't too bad, but it's the fact that they focused that on a DLC when they could have made something like another Automatron like DLC. That was a good DLC as well. But Far Harbor is the best Fallout 4 DLC. Fallout 3, first great game. I think that's a great game, but it's not as I wouldn't put on God tier. It's my very first Fallout game that introduced me into Fallout, but I just don't think it can top Fallout 2 and Fallout New Vegas. Let's put in a DLC. The Pit. I would say it's playable. I actually didn't mind it that much. I tried going for all the bars in that collectathon part. I literally could not find the last I think 4 bars in the whole thing, and I was so mad. I was literally looking for like a good 4 hours altogether for all those bars, and I could not find the last 4. I was so mad about that. But the weapons in that DLC is really fun. The story is actually really interesting. I really like the story. I'm probably gonna play through the DLCs again, because honestly, the Fallout 3 DLCs are really good. There's none that's actually really bad. Other than that, it's a solid playable DLC, but it's not one I would go to first. It's not my favorite. Operation Anchorage, a great DLC. It is honestly my first DLC I go to on Fallout 3, because for some reason, when you do that DLC on Fallout 3, if you don't have power armor training, it automatically gives you power armor training at the end. And I don't know why, but it's a good addition to that. It makes me get people to have power armor early on in the game, and you get a Gauss rifle. You get like these really good armor pieces and weapon pieces at the end. It is very rewarding, and overall, just a solid DLC. Fallout 76. You guys are probably gonna be surprised. I would say a playable game. I honestly, when I first played it, I really enjoyed it. I had friends to play with. I had friends to play with. I had did raids, I did endgame content, but after that, I just got bored. So I'm waiting on the wild, not the wild Appalachia, the winter, nuclear winter. So because there's supposed to be a raid coming in, and I'll play the raid and see what the raid has to do. So it has the raid up. I say what's the raid that's coming for. If it's fun, since I'm already at high level, I don't have to go into there and grind a whole bunch just to get some good weapons, because I already got like 2-shot weapons and all that kind of stuff. So I can play that. But it's not a terrible game, but it's not a good game either. It's for the engine that they used. It was it was very hard to get that engine working on a multiplayer platform. So I give them props to that. And it wasn't made by their head development team either. So let's see what's going on later on. I don't have a definitive opinion on that game yet, because like I said, I didn't play Wild Appalachia. I don't know what's up in recently, but I'm gonna try to give them a chance again after I come back from E3, obviously. Automatron, great DLC. And like I said, this is when Fallout 4 was on its prime with DLCs. I really enjoyed it. I synced in probably about almost 30 hours on Automatron, making like robots, doing the DLC, and the fact that the Mechanist came back and kind of filled in a lot of the storyline between Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. It kind of helped a lot. But overall, it's a good DLC. Get some good weapons from it, and yeah. Broken Steel, bearable DLC. I didn't really enjoy it. I don't feel like Fallout 3 needed I would say a alternate ending, because the ending for that game was already good as it is, and I just didn't think that they needed a second ending to the game. Just kept it where it was. It was perfect, and it didn't really add anything new other than I can't even think of anything on top of my head that was actually like worth going for in that in that DLC, other than just beating it, and you get some other than beating it and getting 10 extra levels and then be able to play on after beating the game. That's basically all the redeeming factors of it. The 10 extra levels and 10 extra perks that you get are very overpowered. And that's the reason why I didn't like about it. Going to Fallout 4, bearable. I didn't really like Fallout 4. I hyped the crap out of that game, not gonna lie. I hyped the shit out of that game. And I didn't really enjoy it. I would say I had more enjoyment out of Fallout 76 than I did with Fallout 4, because at least Fallout 76 I can actually bear the glitches, where the glitches in Fallout 4 were terrible. This wasn't a lot of things to do in that game, and this Boston, in my opinion, wasn't a good place to have. I didn't think Boston was a good location. This has a lot of historical background, but I just don't think it's a good spot to be in. Nuka-World, I think it's the worst I would say it's the worst Fallout DLC that we ever had. I did not enjoy that DLC. I absolutely hated it. It was so bad. Yeah, it's such terrible parts into that thing that just I'd rather not get into it. I can make a separate video on why I didn't like Nuka-World, but Let's just continue on from that. Mothership Zeta, a playable DLC. I think it's better than the Pit, but I wouldn't recommend playing it first. I would recommend getting like your science and all those kind of small weapons, all that kind of up first in your lockpicking, because that in order to get any of the good weapons, you have to have a high science and a high high lockpick in order to get any of the good weapons in that DLC, which kind of pisses me off. But other than that, it's a really good DLC. There's a lot of interesting characters like a samurai, the cowboy, stuff like that. You can meet alongside the game because they were frozen in time and got abducted over those years. It really adds a sense of diversity that was kind of cool. I kind of like that. But let's go to the last two Fallout New Vegas DLCs. Lonesome Road, great DLC. Probably gave one of the best rewards in Fallout New Vegas, which was that's weapons. I meant to say. Gave the rocket launcher that shoots mini rockets. You can upgrade it over the time. It gives you some good NCR armor. Not gonna lie, it gives some really good NCR armor, and those dusters that you get from Elijah, depending on your faction that you actually are assigned at that time. But other than that, it's a really good DLC. Like I said, I could probably go into depth in each Fallout DLC, Fallout New Vegas DLC, because how much I enjoyed all of them. But yeah, honest hearts, God, I would say it's a God tier DLC. The amount of good weapons and the talk of the Burning Man before, like that was talked about so much in the base game, and like I always wondered who that was at the time, and actually meeting him in person was really cool. And especially the weapons you get in that DLC and the location that's in it, and the return of the Yaogwai and stuff like that is so good. I don't know why. I need to play Fallout New Vegas again, dude. It's so good. But if you guys disagree with my tier list, make sure to comment below on what parts need to be think that might need to be changed. But other than that, make sure to like, subscribe, all those kind of stuff. This is Tristan, also known as Darkseeker, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.